Welcome back everybody, hope you're all well. Today I thought I'd share some tips with you on how to keep your tropical plants happy over the winter, and also how I have overwintered a few of my tropical plants from the garden. So it's currently a bit of a gloomy, cold autumn day here in the UK. It's about 15 degrees Celsius outside and about 23 degrees Celsius inside the house. And the humidity is about 60% at the moment. You might notice that I've got a humidifier here on the table with me now. I'll do a little review of that for you soon. So my first tip for keeping your tropical plants happy over the winter is keeping them away from cold and drafty windowsills or doors. So if you've got a collection of plants on your window, first of all, if they're pressed against the glass, like if the leaves are touching the glass, just pull them away from the window a little bit. If it gets really cold outside, the glass will get cold and you don't want the leaves touching it. If you've got any plants that are near drafty doorways or anything like that, just maybe move them. Tropical plants are really sensitive to cold air, so make sure you keep them warm. What are you doing? During autumn and winter, the lighting's going to be different in your home. So my next tip would be moving your plants around depending on the light that they require. So my calatheas are all fine because they like kind of low to medium light, but my money tree, I've just moved closer to the window, and in this room it's a large west-facing window, and that plant now is getting more light. I've just had a general shuffle around with my plants. I quite like to move them around anyway sometimes. I'll see how they're doing in one spot and then I might move them and see if they do better in another place. Does anyone else do that? Do you move your plants around? If your home is not getting enough light during the autumn and winter time, you can purchase special grow lights for your plants or even daylight bulbs. I've got daylight LED bulbs in both my bathrooms because they don't really get that much light and the plants seem really happy in there. My next tip is not to repot your plants during the autumn and winter. Wait till spring or summer. You can still continue pruning and trimming your plants, but I wouldn't recommend to repot them. The growth's much slower during winter, so you don't have to repot them during this time anyway. My next tip is to cut back on your watering over winter. The soil is going to stay moist for much longer because the temperature is not as high, so you don't want to be causing problems like root rot or just basic overwatering. I would cut your watering in half or as required. With most of my plants, I'll just go around, feel the soil. If the top's dry, I might give them a little water. Sometimes I stick my finger in and see how it is a couple of inches down. So I just water all my plants as required. They all have different watering needs. My next tip is to increase the humidity in your home over winter. Once the central heating's on, the air becomes really dry in the home, so it is really important to increase the humidity for your plants and also for your health. My last tip is just to keep an eye out for pests. So every 2 or 3 days I'll go around, just check my plants, make sure they haven't got any bugs. If they have, depending on what pest it is, I will do a treatment on them, and usually I would repot them in new soil. I had some mealybugs to deal with and spider mites over the summer, and I was using a neem oil and horticultural soap mix. You mix part neem oil with horticultural soap and warm water, and you can spray your plants with this and also do like a soil drench. I'll link the products below that I used, but these seem really effective. I've also got like a special bug spray for indoor plants as well, which I'll also link. That's been quite good for getting rid of spider mites. As for overwintering my garden plants, I was going to do a full video on this and go out and film it and everything. I was keeping an eye on the weather, it all looked great. It was still around 10 degrees at night, and then one day it just dropped to, I think the temperature was going to be 1 degree. So I panicked and I went out in the rain. It was awful weather, and I literally chopped everything down and really quickly just kind of either brought them in or put them in the shed. So I overwintered my Bengal tiger banana plants, my big red banana, my colocasia, my canna lilies, my begonia and my coleus plants. So what I did with my colocasia is I chopped him down, chopped the leaves off, which was really sad because he was just growing a new leaf. Got the bulb out of the soil, chopped back the roots, cleaned all the soil off the bulb. I then left the bulb to dry in my airing cupboard for around a week, or you can just put the bulb out in like a sunny place and let it dry out. But it was raining here for a few days, so I couldn't do that. What I then did was put the bulb in a paper bag and then sprinkled a bit of yellow sulfur powder onto the bulb. Adding the sulfur powder to the paper bag will just ensure that you don't get any mould or anything horrible growing in there over the winter. So I've just literally put him in a paper bag and he's in the one of my kitchen cupboards at the moment. I did the same with my canna lilies as well. So I just chopped them right down, took them out the soil, cut off the roots and just saved the rhizomes and dried them out and put them in paper bags. My red banana, I just chopped off a few of his leaves and I've brought him inside. So at the moment he's living in my office and he's just grown a new leaf, so he must be quite happy. I get a little bit of afternoon sun in there, so the sun is shining on him for a few hours in the afternoon. When you're bringing in plants from the garden, I recommend wiping them down and treating them for bugs. So I did my neem oil and horticultural soap drench on my red banana. I didn't repot the soil just because the pot's really big. I just did a drench through the soil and hopefully that will kill anything that was in there. He didn't have any bugs on the leaves or anything, so that was good. For my Bengal tigers, I did exactly the same. I chopped the leaves and then I've just brought them inside as well, but I did repot those in new soil because the pots were quite small, so that was quite easy. I just cut back my begonia and coleus plants and I just put those in the shed, so we'll see how those do. That's all I did really for overwintering my garden plants. Everything else out there should be okay. The fattias should be fine. I've got some bamboo. The spiderweb fattias might be a little bit fussy in the really cold weather, but we'll see how those do. I just put some extra mulch around the base of the plants. I just put a bit of horticultural fleece around the base as well, so hopefully they'll be fine, but I'll do an updated garden tour during the winter to show you how all the plants are doing. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video and found it useful. If you've got any questions, just leave them below, and I'll see you soon in my next video. Take care everyone. Bye.